Francis Bartek, a widower of Polish descent who had become a millionaire in France's construction business, found himself living a life of luxury in Monaco. He had 3 adult children, Philippe, Alexandre, and Stella. However, rather than pursuing careers and independence, his children lived off his wealth, leading indulgent and careless lives. Alexandre skipped classes to pursue numerous romantic conquests. Stella indulged in shopping sprays, and Felipe was notorious for his foolish ideas and partying. One morning, Felipe approached Francis with a ridiculous idea of hiring people to break in his shoes before he wore them. Francis, unwilling to reprimand his children since their mother's death 15 years ago, reluctantly agreed to consider the idea. His close friend and associate, Ferruccio, expressed his concern about Felipe's foolishness. Felipe left after Francis gave him a company package to deliver. Meanwhile, Stella's birthday party was in full swing at the Bartek mansion. Her lazy Argentine boyfriend, Juan Carlos, irritated her with his never-ending stories about his homeland, and Stella grew increasingly frustrated by the lack of juice. She stormed into the kitchen to vent her frustration on the staff and encountered Matthias, an old acquaintance who was working as part of the catering team. Matthias pointed out that Stella was only happy to see him because he would be working for her all night. Francis spent some time in his home office, contemplating where he had gone wrong in raising his children and talking to a portrait of his late wife. Marguerite, the housekeeper, expressed concern about his depression, but Francis dismissed her. His peace was disrupted when he discovered Juan Carlos attempting to open an expensive bottle of vintage champagne with a golf ball, resulting in a mess. Juan Carlos blamed the waiter holding the bottle for the mishap, which further infuriated Francis. Stella and Juan Carlos, seeking Francis's permission to marry, followed him to his office, where he cleaned his shotgun. Francis made it clear that he disapproved of Juan Carlos and questioned his intentions regarding Francis's wealth. Stella, fed up with her father's absenteeism, informed him that she wasn't seeking permission, but merely informing him before storming out with Juan Carlos. While Stella announced her engagement to the party guests, Francis received a call from Ferruccio, confirming Felipe's irresponsible behavior, as evidenced by a party video posted on social media. Simultaneously, Alexandre's school principal arrived at the Bartek house, irate over his truancy and involvement with his daughters. To Francis's shock, Alexandre appeared with both of the principal's daughters by his side, revealing that he had been involved with them as well. The stress of witnessing his children's collective misconduct led to Francis suffering a heart attack. He awoke in the hospital with Ferruccio by his side. The children eventually arrived, but instead of showing consideration, they bickered among themselves, causing Francis's heart rate to spike again. Ferruccio intervened, asking Francis if he believed his late wife would be proud of their behavior. 2 months later, the 3 siblings found themselves in dire straits. Their credit cards and cell phones had been blocked, and there was no Wi-Fi in their house. A group of police officers surrounded the house, claiming to have a search warrant. Francis, armed with a shotgun, instructed his children to follow him to escape. They commandeered a passing car, making their getaway. Unbeknownst to the siblings, Ferruccio paid off the driver and remained discreetly in the background. As they drove to Marseille, Francis revealed that their family business was in trouble due to misappropriated funds, resulting in frozen accounts and legal troubles for fraud. He instructed them not to discuss the situation with anyone and disposed of their cell phones on the street to avoid tracking. In Marseille, they were shocked by the modest lifestyle of the middle and lower classes. Francis led them to his childhood home, which had fallen into disrepair. The siblings struggled to adapt to their new circumstances, dealing with issues like limited lighting, shared beds, and unsanitary conditions. Stella, Philippi, and Alexandre embarked on a job hunt to survive while Francis stayed home, repairing the house. The roles had reversed, and now it was their turn to provide for their father, who had always supported them. The search for employment proved challenging. Alexandre tried his luck at a construction site but was swiftly dismissed for stealing lunch from workers. Stella, working as a waitress, faced challenges with balancing trays and dealing with rude customers. Felipe, initially seeking financial support from a friend for his dubious business ideas, was confronted with the truth that his ideas were perceived as foolish. Stella's co-workers, Marguerite and Matthias, provided support by offering clothes and a job interview. Stella accepted the position as a waitress on a trial basis, struggling with multiple orders and demanding customers. However, she persevered and even learned some less savory kitchen practices from Matthias to handle rude customers. Felipe eventually found work as a bike taxi driver, albeit with some difficulty due to his weight and slowness on the bike. He formed an unexpected friendship with Malek, a fellow bike taxi driver, over their shared love of collector trainers. Alexandre, to everyone's surprise, utilized his high school knowledge of plumbing to fix the plumbing issues in their home. Back in Monaco, Juan Carlos discovered rumors of the family's financial troubles and suspected Ferruccio's involvement. He decided to investigate. Later, he confronted Francis, revealing his suspicions and attempting to extort money from him. However, Francis decided to play along, pretending to go along with Juan Carlos's plan. Juan Carlos convinced Stella to elope with him. Despite her reservations, she agreed. However, Francis intervened, revealing that he had orchestrated the financial troubles as a life lesson. This revelation led to a heated confrontation, and Stella slapped Juan Carlos upon learning the truth. She left with her siblings, cutting ties with her father. 9 months passed without communication between Francis and his children. They sent him monthly checks for living in his childhood home, which he never cashed, keeping them in a glass bowl as a symbol of their strained relationship. One day, Ferruccio took Francis on an unexpected detour during a business trip, leading him back to the family home. With flowers in tow for Stella's birthday, Francis walked in on his children, doing well for themselves. Philippi and Malek thrived in the trainer-selling business. Alexandre worked as a plumber, and Stella and Matthias were preparing to open their restaurant. Despite initial awkwardness, the family reconciled, with Francis apologizing once more for his shortcomings as a father. They decided to celebrate together as a family, and Francis's glass bowl of uncashed checks remained a poignant reminder of their journey towards understanding and forgiveness. In the end, the Bartek family learned valuable lessons about responsibility, humility, and the importance of family bonds. The trials they faced ultimately brought them closer together and allowed them to appreciate the true value of their relationships.